Hey, Basic Swamps, thanks for the first. Nice. Hello and welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Basic Swamps, can you hear me fine? And is the music not too loud? Hopefully it's fine. Yeah, back today with Legacy Death and Taxes. A deck that I went through a league yesterday and recorded and put on my YouTube. And today I'm pretty happy to take it through a league. Just a few minor changes to the deck that I made, just to see how it goes. But yeah, Legacy Death and Taxes I think is pretty well positioned right now. It's obviously a creature-based deck that can have some disruptive elements against fast combo decks, but with a lot of the combo decks running around in the current meta, they can be a little bit too quick for the deck, but I still think that we have enough pieces in the deck to slow down our opponents, especially those on fast combo. So cards like the Deafening Silences in the sideboard are really nice. I was playing 2 previously, but now I think that playing the full 3 is fine. I've switched up the 2 Rest in Peace and 2 Surgical Extraction from 2 Fairy Macabre in the Surgical Extraction slot. Although Fairy Macabre has that little bit of synergy with Recruiter of the Guard as well. And also playing around things like Duress and Chancellor. I think Surgical is just a little bit better right now. I haven't been playing against too much Reanimator, if any. So pretty happy to have Surgical in the deck. I think it just does a little bit more than Fairy Macabre, and right now you kind of just need it. So pretty happy with Surgical there. We do have 2 creatures in the board that can be found with Recruiter of the Guard. One is Walking Ballista, and the other one is Leonin Relic-Warder. Mainly for removal in the fair decks, but also good against some of the combo decks as well. So pretty happy to have those. We do also have 2 2 Cataclysms. 1 Council Judgment and Path to Exile as kind of our extra removal. Cataclysm really good in the BANT Miracles matchup. I think it's also really good against all the Grixis Control and a few other decks. Gideon, I really like just having a one-off Gideon, just against some of the Plague Engineer decks. I think it's pretty tough that sometimes we can get caught under the neg1 on humans effect of Plague Engineer, so to have an Anthem out, I think the Gideon's probably the right choice. I was going to play around with Honor of the Pure, but I'm not sure if it just does enough on its own. I think Gideon's probably where you want to be. And we do have some ways to play around Plague Engineer. We do have a few different creature types and a few humans that are just X2s, which is nice. Like Charming Prince and Sanctum Prelate, Mirran Crusader. Definitely a few things that doesn't get hit by just the single Plague Engineer, which is nice. But that's the deck list. You can find it, of course, in the cardboard feature on the screen. Just a little back of the Magic card. A huge thank you to Card Hoarder, who sponsors the channel, and of course allowed me to get these cards ad hoc, which is really nice. So a huge thank you to them. If you do want to support the channel through Card Hoarder, you can use my code, which you can find in my YouTube videos in the description or below my Twitch channel in the Card Hoarder button, which is pretty sweet. And also to MTG Mate, which is a Australian online card seller. They're Brisbane based, where I'm from. They do a really good job of getting cards out quickly, which is nice. And you can also get a 5% off singles with the code DUGS through them, which is very cool. So if you want to support me through them as well, you can definitely use that code. That's it. Let's get straight into this. I was thinking of maybe upping my amount of Phyrexian Revokers, but I wasn't too sure what to cut, and I think I want to play a few more games before I really get a good grasp of what I want to cut. I think the cards like the one off Tomik, the one off Charming Prince, and maybe even Thalia, Heretic, Cathar are probably the slots that I could play around with, but we'll see how this goes, and then we'll go from there. Mishra's Factory is going to be pretty cool as well. It's a card that we can use to our advantage with something like Cataclysm to keep 2 lands if we want. We can activate the Mishra's Factory and then either keep it as a land, artifact, or creature, which is kind of cool. So yesterday I had a really good match against BANT Miracles, which we got up against. And then we also got up against... That's actually a tough one. But I know we had a pretty hard time against Hogak. A pretty hard time against some sort of Mystic Forge deck that won through Walking Ballista and making a ton of mana with just a bunch of artifacts, and of course the 5 mana artifact that whenever you cast a spell you can untap all non-land permanents, I believe, which is pretty rough. And then also just an ant deck, I think. But yeah, a good mix of legacy decks online right now, which is cool. I'm actually not sure what time it is in the US right now. 11:30 p.m. Nice, okay. Very cool. Duplicator at the top with 37 trophies is pretty sweet. We played against Duplicator last weekend on 4-color loam and luckily got up, which is nice. JPA 93 on 32 trophies. Most likely on Sneak and Show. Definitely very well known for it. New land in there, trying out a few new brews. But I know Eric's definitely getting a few trophies on Reanimator as well. Got our first match, which is really nice. And we're on the play, which is cool. So we'll definitely take that. And this hand's an interesting one. So the hands without Vial are always going to be a little bit weaker. We do have some interaction with Port and Swords to Plowshares. The double up on Stoneforge isn't too bad. Stoneforge into Batterskull is always a pretty nice play. But against decks like Oko, the Batterskull is just a little bit less good. I think I'm going to mulligan this hand. I probably want something a little bit better against combo. I'd love to have a hand with both Aether Vial and Thalia. But I can definitely see a world where we keep this as well. I just don't think relying on Stoneforge for a turn 3 Batterskull is enough. And if we don't draw into a third land, we can actually get Wastelanded out pretty easily. So I guess the Tomik does help if we draw into another white source. Hey, Ramar, welcome. I'm going to keep this and I'm going to see how it goes. It's always nice to sometimes keep hands that I usually wouldn't, just to see how they do play out, because I think if you do that a lot, you can kind of work towards a better overall feeling of what hands you should and shouldn't keep. But no turn 1 proactive play is pretty rough. The Snow-Covered Island kind of gives away that this might be some sort of Oko deck, so the Stoneforge Mystic not looking the best here, but we'll see how it ends up. See what they do with this Ponder as well. Chose not to shuffle, okay. Second planes. So I have the option here of Tomik or going with Stoneforge. I think Tomik's just the better play, but I'm still going to play planes because I don't think I'm against a Wasteland deck, but I'd probably rather not get Wastelanded off my port. Okay. Pretty happy just to get Batterskull here. If they don't have a quick answer to the Stoneforge, it turns it into a threat pretty easily. And it still means the next turn we can just hold up Batterskull and Swords to Plowshares, which is kind of nice. Oh, this could be, well, this is looking a lot more like Show and Tell. Interesting. So maybe Port's just the better play here. I guess we could also play Recruiter of the Guard. and get Palace Jailer. That's only if they put in a creature that it's great. I think that we kind of just have to go with Port this turn, unfortunately. Yeah, I do like the green version. I think it's pretty sweet. So in case they have a sneak attack in hand, oh, they might be going for like an intuition here. Okay. Probably for either 3 show and tells or 3 Emrakuls. 3 show and tells, okay. So here, pretty happy to tap them off the City of Traders to try to keep them off that extra mana that they need to cast show and tell. Interesting, because they're going to lose their city there just to play that fetch land. Second Plains is great, because now we can just hold up Batterskull and also port our opponent. So I'm pretty happy to do that. I wonder if this play kind of gives away that they have a second... I don't think that play gives away that they have a second... Soul Land, because if they did, they could have just played it that turn and show and telled. Hey Dan, welcome. Hope the family's well. So upkeep will tap down the island. I saw you did pretty well with 4-color Maverick. Deck looked very fun. I like the ley lines and thought teasers in the sideboard. Brainstorm's fine. So sadly, main deck, we have no answers to Omniscience or Sneak. I guess Sneak we do in Phyrexian Revoker. But if they do show and tell, I think we just put in Recruiter and go and get Palace Jailer in case they do put in a creature like Emrakul or Grizzlebrand. But I'm going to assume they have a Soul Land here from that Brainstorm. Maybe not. Yeah, I think Green-White's pretty nice as well right now. There's been a lot of times on Green-White-Black recently where I've just been wastelanded out by my Delver opponent. And it never feels great, to say the least. Yeah, I think Green-White definitely has that consistency to it that just makes it so nice. Thalia. Thalia is actually quite nice, especially with the port. So I'm going to go to attacks first. I'm going to assume they have a Force of Will in hand. They haven't countered anything yet, and I think Thalia is a great target for Force of Will. Okay. So now I think maybe the next best draw is just going to be something like... Oh, Brainstorm. Okay. Another port. Wasteland's not doing a whole lot on this board. That's the issue. I think with Green-White, you definitely lack some sort of board wipe. Black has access to, in the past, Zealous Persecution. Now we have, of course, things like Plague Engineer. So the times that I have played Green-White, I have definitely lost to decks who just go wide and don't really care about your 1 or 2 creatures. Yeah, which sucks. I had a pretty good match against, I forgot his name, but Flickerwisp. Interesting. So we currently have a 2-turn clock, which is really nice. So our opponent has to pretty much win next turn. But unfortunately, there's not too much here that I like. I guess we can play the Recruiter, the Guard. I don't want to turn off the port. So my thinking was we could have played the Recruiter this turn to go and get Palace Jailer because we have Flickerwisp for Show and Tell. So unless they win off Omni, it doesn't do too much. So I think maybe there's even a world where maybe we keep up Swords to Plowshares, but I think we definitely attack first. Yeah, definitely. I was even looking at cards like Marrow Shards, which is pretty good in the right meta, but I don't think it's good enough as a board wipe. So here I can hold up 2 mana for Swords to Plowshares for something like a Grizzlebrand off Sneak, but I don't think Grizzlebrand actually does anything. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe I'll just put in Stoneforge here to try to get Sword of Fire and Ice, because then Sword of Fire and Ice is next turn lethal, even if they attack with the Grizzlebrand through Sneak. But I think either way we're pretty good here. So we'll see how this ends up. The one thing I like about Batterskull in this matchup is that it counts for 2 permanents when it comes to Annihilator. Oh, green. Interesting. So luckily if this is show and tell, Thalia just turns off any sort of Cunning Wish lines with Omniscience. I still think Flickerwisp is just the best play here. The only thing is, okay, so because they're tapped out, maybe the better play is going for Recruiter into Palace Jailer. They've already played a land for turn, so they can't cast anything through Thalia, not even a Lotus Petal. So I think the only thing they can be putting in is maybe a Grizzlebrand. And if we put in Flickerwisp and flicker it out, it comes back end step, and then we don't have a great attack. They can actually put in Omniscience and then just Emrakul us. So I think it has to be Flickerwisp. Alright. Because yeah, we're definitely just dead to Omni into Emrakul. Nice. They can't cast anything when it's on the stack, which is good because unless they have Simian Spirit Guide, but they don't. Very nice. Okay. They don't play Grizzlebrand in BANT Show and Tell? Interesting. So what do we like? I definitely like Deafening Silence, especially against the Omni plan. I like cutting probably all swords, but there's definitely times where I think about it a little bit less. I think that the Mirrans are maybe a little bit undercooked, as well as the Tomik. Relic-Warder is great. Michael, welcome to the stream. We're currently in game 1, so you're right in the thick of it. I don't mind Surgical because we saw Intuition. It is a little bit win more, and of course this isn't a deck that's reliant on the graveyard, but I think if we can take out something like Show and Tell against this deck, then it's pretty nice, and it's probably better than some of the other interaction cards we have, like Swords to Plowshares. But I could definitely see myself leaving in a Swords or a Path. I think Path's a little bit better because although we're giving our opponent a creature, we're not giving them the life that they can use to actually use with Grizzlebrand. Council Judgment's always an interesting one as well, because sometimes this is a matchup where my opponent will put in a sneak attack and then pass turn, and then just hopefully they get another turn to actually use it. Sanctum's really nice. I think we definitely take out this. And maybe just bring in one Path. Something like this. Could even cut a land if we wish. I don't mind cutting the Factory. And maybe bringing in the Judgment. Judgment's always nice. We'll see how this goes. The Judgment and the Surgicals are a little bit oofy, but we'll see. Definitely not a hand that we kept. We definitely didn't keep a hand that was great against Sneak. And I don't like this either. I think the Batterskull is a little bit dead, so this makes this pretty much a 6 that doesn't have a white source. And I don't want to rely on having to draw into the white source. This hand's pretty great. We'll keep this. And I'm just going to bottom probably one of the Wastelands. The second Wasteland isn't doing probably enough in this hand. It's not casting the Flickerwisps, that's for sure. And although they are on a pretty basic heavy mana base, I think we can drop one. It is tough though, because they do play usually the full 8 Soul Lands, so hitting one of those early on would be pretty nice. Maybe it's the second Flickerwisp. Maybe I try to just keep a strategy going of just mana denial. Okay. Something like Mum or Aether Vial would be nice here. Prelate's actually not too bad. The big question is if they have Soul and Show and Tell, what do we put in? Most likely the Thalia. I could see Prelate on 3 to stop Cunning Wish, and also maybe Kozilek's Return if they have it, and Intuition. Another Thalia. That's kind of nice. Yeah, I think Mana Denial can be pretty good. They only have so many basics, so we can hopefully get to a stage where they kind of have to start going for their jewels or playing their Soul Land to pay for something like Thalia's tax. Ponder's fine. Hopefully a shuffle. This is where I miss playing Choke. Definitely where I miss playing playing around with Maverick. Even just the acceleration of things like Noble Hierarch. It's tough to play with that and then come back to Death and Taxes. So they chose not to shuffle. Interesting. Maybe they want to draw the card and then shuffle in their upkeep, or sorry, end of their draw step. Stoneforge. I think here we just play Wasteland and then play Stoneforge. Definitely attack first. I'm going to get Sword of Fire and Ice. In case we don't draw into another white source next turn and draw into a land, we can just go for damage and drawing cards. Okay, so they drew a card they wanted with the Ponder and then fetched away everything else. Hey, Legacy Goblins. Great name, by the way. Thank you for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what you play in Legacy. Oof, with a mana up as well. So I think the play is Flickerwisp here, and then just Surgical the Show and Tells. They have open a green, so they don't have open a red source, unless they have Lotus Petal. I guess I could Surgical like a Ponder to see what's in their hand, and then base my assessment of what I want to put in off that. which is definitely interesting. I mean, if they're trying to go for some sort of Cunning Wish line, where they also Cunning Wish this turn and then pass. I think I might Surgical them here. Take the Ponder, see what they have in hand, and then go from there. Which is pretty rough, because then it means the Surgical is not targeting the Show and Tell after. But maybe this is fine. We'll see how this goes. So they have Omniscience and Cunning Wish. Okay. So at least we can name 3 and make sure that the Cunning Wish cannot be cast. Also, knowing that the Icefang Codal is really nice. Take out this one as well. Omniscience, Icefang, Force of Will, Cunning Wish. Alright. So we'll put in Prelate. We'll name 3. So now they have Force of Will, Icefang Codal, and one other card. Just don't draw into Emrakul. That'd be pretty rough. Sylvan Library. Interesting. Okay. Mother of Runes. So I think holding up Sword is better than playing the Mum. So I can definitely Wasteland this turn. The second Wasteland isn't probably doing enough. Wish. Thank you, Matt. So we'll go after the City Traders. I definitely don't want them to have the extra mana in their turn. And then now we can just we can definitely attack with the Thalia because it has first strike. But yeah, the Sylvan Library is very scary. Don't waste his spells, doesn't really need mana, so he might make a double play in a few turns. Don't waste his spells. Yeah, the only thing that the City Traders allows them to not cast 2 extra spells because of Thalia making them cost an extra 1. So with their current mana base, they can cast 3 spells this turn. Echoing Truth is pretty good. Okay. I guess Cunning Wish goes and gets Eldumri's Call. Shared Summonings. Okay, just as good. I assume they get Grizzlebrand and Emrakul here. Grizzlebrand and Emrakul. Okay. That is a concession. Boarding ahead. I think these are the slots where I'm happy to have a second opinion on. I think the Deafening Silence is great, especially against the Omni line. Leonin Relic-Warder is fine. Revoker's okay. I guess it names Sneak Attack. I think all these cards are just a little bit too fair in the matchup. I guess the Icefang Codals are kind of annoying. So maybe just because of that, the swords are a little bit better. Yeah, the only reason I played the Path over a sword was if they do attack with a Grizzlebrand, I don't want to give them the life that they can use to draw spells. I'd rather just try to give them a mana. But I think keeping 2 swords in is fine, especially if it means that we're attacking a lot better. I still like Judgment. Maybe it's just a Stoneforge. I don't think the Stoneforge package is fine, but I don't think we're really reliant on it for this game. I'm going to see how this goes. I'd love to play first. Even this hand's a little bit rough. We do have a turn 1 Mum into a turn 2 Revoker or Stoneforge, but I think we really need something a little bit better in regards to actually disrupting our opponent, so Thalia or Deafening Silence. So I'm pretty happy to mulligan this, and haha, this is where Surgical definitely makes hands a little worse. I think we can go to 5. This hand just doesn't do enough. This is better. We get to drop the second Karakas, or the 2 Karakas. Karakai? Is that the correct term? So we'll keep this and drop these 2. Now I'm pretty happy just to lead on Wasteland and go into Vial. They might even force this if they saw us lead on the Wasteland. It might give the impression that we have a pretty bad mana base. Okay. Drawn from Dreams is a very cool card. Recruiter's not too bad. Sylvan Library's pretty good. If we draw a land here, I think we just Recruiter for Flickerwisp. We do only have 1 white though. So I can either go for value and get Flickerwisp. I can go for a decent card to put in with Show and Tell, like Leonin Relic-Warder or Palace Jailer. Or I could just go for something like Thalia. But because of the Sylvan Library, I really want to start beating down pretty hard. I think the Sylvan Library kind of negates Thalia, because they're most likely not going to have any mana issues from here on out. So this is where it gets a little bit tricky. I don't think even getting a second Recruiter is that great, because it just buys up another turn. I think I have to go for Relic-Warder, and then if they put in a creature, then then I can just Karakas it. So I think Leonin Relic-Warder is just the best. The only issue with double white plays is that I have to draw into a white source next turn. I don't mind Relic-Warder, because we do have creatures answered in Karakas. I'm going to see how this goes. And then I think I could attack for 1 here. I just get blown out by something like... I guess it's not the worst. I get blown out by Pyroclasm. I couldn't stop Kozilek's Return anyway. And I think the 1 point is just worth trying to get in here. Yeah, especially with no mana up for like Icefang Codal. The only thing Relic-Warder doesn't beat is Omniscience into Cunning Wish. And a fetch here is always pretty... I guess a fetch is either Show and Tell or a fetch is just Ponder, and I want to see a new top of my library. Okay, so this looks like intuition, but luckily we have the surgical. Oh, Deafening Silence is interesting. So what I could do, because if I cast the Deafening Silence, I can't then surgical. I guess I can surgical on upkeep. What I could do is tap down the forest here to see what they have. I don't mind tapping down forest. See if they intuition. Or if they just have Icewind Codal. Okay, I'm gonna let it slide. Probably happy again here with just another. Interesting. Going down to 10, okay. Brainstorm's fine. That is their spell for the turn. Is Thalia better than Port? And I think Thalia is a lot better than Port here. The question is, do I want a surgical force to make sure it sticks? Surgical I can play Thalia because it's each player can't cast more than one non-creature spell this turn. So I can still play Surgical as my one non-creature spell for the turn and then play Thalia, which is kind of nice. I don't mind this because it just means that the Thalia is going to stick most likely. We get full information of the hand and what we need to play around. It's not the greatest use of Surgical. I'd much rather do it in response or at the end of an intuition line. Interesting. So they have intuition up. Haha, classic. I'm going to quickly take a little. Okay, so we know intuition's coming down this turn. If not, Icewind Codal. It's going to stick. Interesting. Yeah, I wanted to remove the forces, so the Thalia most likely definitely came down. I don't think this deck would run anything like Spell Snare. So now my opponent's just holding up the Icewind Codal. Yeah, it's true. That's actually a great line. I actually like keeping the forces as what they could draw into. That's actually something I just didn't even think about. That's actually, yeah, I like that play. So here I'm pretty happy to give Pro before damage. I might as well just do it here when they got the ability on the stack. Yeah, that's very true. But yeah, I like that. That's always the thing with if your opponent's playing Accumulated Knowledge, and you go to Surgical 1 in response to the second, do you still leave 1 in the deck? So we know about Drawn from Dreams, Intuition, Cunning Wish, and Brainstorm. Wow, and they're just going to concede. Which is pretty early. I mean, they most likely... Surely they found a land there. And if not, they still had open Brainstorm. They have Drawn from Dreams as well, which can find them a lot of good stuff. But obviously they just found maybe the Thalia, Karakas, and Deafening Silence luck was a little bit too good. Which is pretty nice. Hey, Papa JRBX2. Thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? But yeah, I really like that thought of actually having a better think about if you should just leave the forces in the deck after you've seen that there's none in their opening in the hand that they have. But I guess the Ice Fang does give them a chance to draw into it, but it is pretty small. So I definitely like their keeping some of the forces in the deck. You're from Texas? Very cool. There's actually a Texas in Queensland, Australia. Or is it? I think it's in Victoria, sorry. So I'm assuming you're from overseas. Proxy Sliver deck once? That's cool. Legacy Slivers is actually surprisingly challenging to play against as a lover of fair magic. Crystalline Sliver is probably the biggest one that gives all Slivers Shroud. Or all other Slivers Shroud. So if you have 2 of them, they all just have Shroud. Which is pretty insane. It means that things like Swords of Plowshares, Jitte, all these good removal spells are just pretty useless. Hey, Styfro. I am a huge fan of your piles. So thanks for being in chat. It gives itself Shroud too. Okay, that's very cool. Yeah, Crystalline Sliver is, I believe, a 2-drop as well, which is pretty cool. We have our match, which is nice. I was late for draft, but they fired a Legacy tournament. That sounds pretty nice. Usually it's Legacy that doesn't fire, so they get a draft together. Daniel Nunez. Ah, interesting. Okay. Blade of Ice will definitely be on the play. I think this hand's fine. It's not a Vial start, but I think it's got a lot of great 2-drops that, depending on what we play against, we're going to be pretty happy. Forest. Oof, okay, lands. Nice. Mox Diamond. Sylvan Library, okay. So now I have the option of going Revoker on Mox Diamond or just playing Thalia. And I think Thalia is just a little bit better here. The Wasteland's a little bit dead for now. But I think Thalia definitely impedes if they draw into like another Exploration and Life and Loam, so... Thalia's obviously a little bit worse if they draw into Karakas, but... I think this Revoker is definitely naming Mox Diamond down the line. I'm just going to 6 this turn. I'm just going to turn down my air conditioning. I'll be back in a sec. Maze of Ith, Wasteland. Okay. Plains. I think here I'm just happy with second Plains and Revoker. Going after Mox Diamond. Yeah, I assume the two different forests is because of Field of the Dead. I assume these are counted as two different types of lands, or two different names. But yeah, I think Field of the Dead is a great addition to lands as just an alternate win con. Especially in game 1 where not many decks have too many outs to just the go wide strategy of 2/2 zombies. Cavern. Okay, maybe this is a primetime deck. Which is pretty scary. Three mana. Something like Courser of Crufix would be pretty bad. Okay, Life in the Loam. So now I have the option of Recruit of the Guard for something like Palace Jailer and lose a land. I don't mind attacking first. We can get in 2 damage. I don't think my opponent's playing Dryad Arbor. Hopefully not. Okay. So I think because of the Maze of Ith, I do want to go a bit wider on my board. I don't want to lose the Wasteland just to a Wasteland if it's tapped. So I'm going to play the Factory. I'm going to play Mum, and then I'm going to play Stoneforge Mystic. I think Batterskull's fine. Sword of Fire Ice is interesting. It's a little bit worse with the Maze of Ith and the Loam coming back and forth. So I think I just want to get the Batterskull. It does mean next turn we do have something to just do with 2 mana as well and hold up Wasteland, but I could also see me just going after their mana a little bit there as well. If I wanted to stop a primetime coming down this turn. Actually, I've never played against this deck, at least the primetime version, so I'm not sure if it still plays lands like Tabernacle. That can definitely neuter our effect to go wide. Loam's gonna be fine. Blast Zone's pretty nice, I'm not gonna lie. But it is going to take some time to actually charge it up. Looks like they're going to let me have this Mishra's Factory, which is interesting. Maybe they want to put a counter on the Blast Zone. Second Thalia. So I'm pretty happy to attack with 3 creatures here and hold up Stoneforge to get in 3 damage. I think I definitely need to hit the Blast Zone with Wasteland. So I think we'll go to combat first. Play a land and pass. The question is, do I care about the Blast Zone on 2? And I think I do. Interesting. They're just going to the end step. That's fine. Alright, so now I'm pretty happy to hit it. Interesting. So they're playing Oko as well. It's getting close. The Wasteland hits the Mishra's factory, which stops an extra 2 damage. The Batterskull is pretty much answered by Mazavith. Field's going to be pretty strong. Field might just be too strong. Yeah, field is basically GG. There's a line where I might be able to get in with Flickerwisp in the air, but otherwise it's pretty rough. Should have probably put in the Recruiter Guard so they couldn't Wasteland me in my attack phase, but I'm still pretty happy at this stage to attack. With these. Most likely giving pro to the Revoker. I could also get Mirran Crusader, which seems pretty good against this deck. I don't think it's running anything else that's great. But Flickerwisp in the air just seems a little bit... I guess... There's not much difference between Mirran on the ground with pro black, pro green, and Flickerwisp in the air, other than an extra point of damage from Mirran Crusader. So I think Mirran's actually the better pick here. We just have to draw into something to remove this Mazavith. But the Blast Zone here is most likely going to decimate my board. It does, if they do it for 2, it does get rid of their Sylvan Library as well, which is a small win, but... I think we just 6 this turn. We can't do too much else. I think my best draws right now are just Ports and Wastelands. It's definitely a land that I need next turn because they're most likely going to Wasteland this Mishra's Factory, which turns off the Mirran Crusader unless I draw a third mana source. So I wouldn't even mind drawing a Plains next turn because it means just 3 of our mana is not really hit by Wasteland. They do have a Port in the bin, but I think I'm happy with that for now. Yeah, I think the port here is just going to be a little bit too much. We'll see what we draw. Yeah. I'm going to concede this because I think I really need the time in games 2 and 3 if there is a third game as well. So Rest in Peace seems great. Surgical seems great. I don't know about Cataclysm in this matchup. It actually seems okay, especially with the Field of the Ruin. It also gets rid of Oko, which is kind of nice. I'm pretty happy to take out probably some number of Thalia. Maybe even all. I think Thalia is okay, but they're still playing Karakas, so... also having Blasphemy in the deck. They do have a few outs to Thalia. I think Prelate's fine, especially on 2. I still like the Stoneforge Mystic package. Swords to Plowshares is an interesting one. Maybe I like taking out 2 swords and adding in 2 paths. I don't mind Leonin Relic-Warder either. The Revokers only hit Mox Diamond and Oko, I guess. Maybe I'm happy to go down on some number of Stoneforge Mystic. And maybe something like Charming Prince. I guess Charming Prince is, yeah, maybe a little bit too meh. I still like everything else. Tomik seems fantastic. The Revokers seem fine. I think we can actually just rely on 1 Revoker with the 2 Recruiters. And maybe I just want a Thalia. Council Judgment is always just a great card as well, especially if they're playing Sylvan Library. If we can get it straight away, it's a 1-for-1. I think as well, because I'm bringing in so many non-creature spells, I don't mind dropping on Thalias, because it could get to a stage where they just... Thalia hits me a lot more than my opponent. Mums are fine, Path is fine. Vials are great. Yeah, I'm gonna play it out like this and see how it goes. Thalia's an interesting one. If you guys in chat have any opinions on Thalia against this deck, I'd love to know it. It just doesn't really have any... No creatures, of course, which is the worst thing. I just don't have any threats. A lot of answers, but... I don't mind this hand because of the Tomik. I think I'm going to keep this and bottom the Jitte. I'd love to have a Plains, but... I think I'm happy leading with the Karakas. I definitely want double white next time. And at least if they Wasteland the Karakas, I do have more in the deck, which... a little bit dead if I do have one in play, but... Yeah, I wasn't too sure if they side into like a Tireless Tracker kind of deck. Oof. Okay. Ah, rough. That's pretty rough. Tap down the Trop. Wasteland. Not the greatest here. Come on, white sauce. It's definitely getting to a stage where I'm kind of scared of them just dropping a PrimeTime and going for field straight away. Cataclysm. Don't even have the double white. I'm pretty happy taking care of the Lumbering Falls right now, so they can't activate it in response. I could have played around crop rotation, but then they of course have mana to activate it, so... Classic. Alright. I'm also killing myself with these with this silent clearing. Rough. Double white, double white, double white, double white. Okay, it's pretty good. Yeah, to be fair, this happens sometimes. That's just magic. There it is, okay. So here I actually just don't mind playing out Mirran Crusader. Mainly because it can't be hit by Oko. And I can still port my opponent this turn. I could have actually gone with Cataclysm. I might even do it next turn. I think I'm pretty happy with keeping the planes and just going with Cataclysm here. I'm gonna keep the plane, so keep and keep. do I want to attack? I think I want to attack. Maybe not. I think just because my life total is getting a little bit too low, these surgicals pretty much take me down to 8. So I don't really want to go to 5. So if this is Loam... Okay, so they're getting back the Waterlogged Grove. So I feel like here I have to get rid of just the Waterlogged Grove, so they can't draw and replace the effect to take back the life from the Loam for the second surgical. So Dark Depths, Exploration, PrimeTime. Okay. I think in response to this, I just take out the Loam. That's fine. Wasteland. Wasteland's pretty good. So PrimeTime's the only card in hand. So I don't think they have a way to draw into... I guess they could draw into crop rotation for Ancient Tomb, which gets them 2, 3, 4, 5. Not enough. Oh, they can sack the... No, not enough either. We're definitely playing the Karakas, and I think we're just going for Tomik here. I think Tomik's really nice. I don't want to take the hit. So we know about PrimeTime and 1 card. Thespian Stage. Okay, that's fine. Stage can't do anything either because of the Tomik, which is kind of nice. Recruiter. So here we can actually take him off 2 lands. Or 2 mana effects. Mox Diamond. And I can hold the Wasteland up for now. Pretty happy to start attacking now for 6, putting him to 11. And then next turn... 2, 3, 4... I think this Wasteland's okay for us right now. We can just hold it. That's probably a great target. No attacks by the food is interesting. And now if we can just Recruiter for Flickerwisp and then have that as an answer for this food next turn. Okay. So I think we might drop down on the 2 swords. And I don't mind the extra Revoker. Maybe something like Charming Prince. Charming Prince is nice because we can get extra hits on things like Flickerwisp and Leonin Relic-Warder and even Palace Jailer. The Scry 2 isn't that bad, especially for a deck that doesn't have too much card manipulation. I think I'm happy with this. Might keep one sword in, just in case they are playing like tireless trackers in the deck. It definitely seems like a pretty natural choice for lands orientated decks to have some sort of creature based strategy in the sideboard like tireless tracker. Interesting. I think this is actually fine. I'm gonna take a photo of it and put it up on my Twitter. But because time is of the essence, I'm going to keep this on the draw. I think it's just one white source away from being really nice. Hopefully this isn't something like Abrupt Decay. Okay. Probably just trying to get this forest out of the deck. Which is why I like bringing in Path to Exile, because in this matchup it seems like you go for the basics early on. So I do have the option here of going for Field of the Dead with Life in the Loam. But I kind of like just holding up Surgical for the Loam and then dealing with the field with my Wasteland. Alright, we'll definitely try to deal with this now. That is fine, because we have the second one. So the hand is Exploration, Field of the Dead, Maze of Ith, and Verdant Catacombs. So what do we have? Okos, Primetimes. Okay, so no other creatures. Interesting. Elvish Reclaimer. Okay, there's one. Okay. I think this Wasteland's just a little bit better for me because of the spells that I have, so I don't want to use it now. Definitely tick this up. That's going to be fine. Batterskull, rough. Alright, let's pass back. I do have the option here of attacking, but I kind of like keeping it back just in case my opponent has Oko. They also have Maze of Ith, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it looks really sweet. So it looks like a lands deck that just relies a little bit less on the graveyard. So even though we hit Life in the Loam, there's definitely a few cards. It just doesn't worry about the graveyard. Port, okay. I could have used Flickerwisp in my turn to actually untap my Wasteland, but I think if I did that, they would have just ported it down, because then I could actually respond to the first trigger of Field of Ruin. Interesting. So they have one card left. I'm going to go for their Mox Diamond to see if the last card is a land. Because if not, then they lose their Mox Diamond. I think we know it. Interesting, okay. That's kind of nice. This is going to be an always no for now. I think I'm happy to take care of the field right now. Unless their last card is crop rotation. Okay. That's fine. Stoneforge. So now we might as well attack with both. Plains is pretty nice. Still attack with both. Interesting. Cropping away a port, so maybe this triggers the field. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tabernacle, okay. Wasteland's pretty rough. I think here we just keep the yes. No. No great attacks here either. This is definitely looking pretty tough for us. I think Mirran's probably the only draw that we kind of have, but even that's probably not enough. I think I have to stem the bleeding, because if they get rid of this Flickerwisp, then we just lose on the swing back. So at least they can only port the plains. Okay. So the one annoying thing is that they can untap their zombie that attacks into Batterskull, not allowing us to gain life. But it means that the Maze of It does then is then tapped for our turn, which is kind of cool. So we'll see what happens here. Well, Oko's pretty good. Also, the vial ticking up was kind of annoying because I thought I put a stop on that, but I must have turned it off when I put those triggers on the stack. Which is just one of those things with MTGO that you don't really think of doing. So I'm happy to pay for Stoneforge. Am I? Yeah, we have to. So yeah, now they can just use Port first, tap me off, make me put in Batterskull, and then turn it into a 3/3 with Oko. So I think we're just out to all rights here. Interesting. I guess this is lethal either way. Yeah. That's rough. Because whatever we block, they can just remove from combat, and we don't gain the life, so... that's pretty rough. The Field of the Dead really gets going pretty fast. Especially when we didn't have too much going on to start with. Keeping a one-lander definitely does do that sometimes. Especially when it's not a colored land. But yeah, the deck definitely seems a lot of resilience. Spending both surgicals on the Life and Loam wasn't the greatest, but I definitely didn't want them to cycle it back, so... I also didn't think they would play multiple Field of the Deads, but obviously that's just negligence from my end. And really not knowing the matchup too well. Yeah, I think it was fine, especially on the draw. The Surgical's a free card that we can always cast. The Vial's pretty nice as well. So... I think there might have been like something a little bit better. The rough part is once we've surgical the Loams, then Rest in Peace is pretty much a dead card, which is pretty rough because I've definitely taken out a creature for that. So it's a little bit rough when we lose a threat for a piece that probably doesn't do too much outside of that. Yeah, it's very true as well. The one nice thing about Rest in Peace is that it can't be Oko'd. But everything else can. But yeah, that deck looks really fun to play. I'd love to put it together. It just seems like a land, like if you like playing with lands, then it seems like a great deck. But also to have that second win con of Field of the Dead, and then Primeval, and then also Oko. Just a lot of different angles of attack rather than just sort of your 2020 or your Punishing Fires or something like Tile Striker. I guess traditional lands does also have Field of the Dead now, which is kind of nice. But yeah, it's tough beats. More Mirrans. Need more Mirrans. There's definitely little things there as well, like how good Rishadan Port was. With keeping us off our mana for when we were even struggling to get it. Cataclysm seemed great. Game 2 was verse... I'm not sure of the name of the deck. It's like PrimeTime. I would call it like Bug PrimeTime? Or like Bug Lands. I would still call it a lands deck because it is pretty much functioned around Field of the Dead and Primeval Titan. But with Life in the Loam being really the only card in the graveyard. Hey, Negator77. Huge fan of you. I believe that's Thomas. I could be always wrong with Twitch. It could be a different person, but thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. What your local Legacy scene's like. We have a pretty good one here in Brisbane. Currently putting together some work for a LGS and hopefully a quarterly Legacy event, which would be pretty cool. I think there's definitely enough people in Brisbane to try it out, and enough loaner decks as well. On the play again, which is nice. But I'm not keeping this. If one of the Flickerwisps was an extra land, it would be okay, but the hand doesn't really have much of a plan. The turn 1 Mishra's Factory is a little bit suspect. Ah, Legend, thank you very much. I'm going to mulligan this. This is a little bit better. So I'm going to drop the second Wasteland and keep this, which is an okay hand. So turn 1 Mum into hopefully a live 2-drop into either Prelate or Flickerwisp. What's the Legacy scene like in Philly? I'm sure it's very good, but I don't really have much of a... Ooh, this looks like a mirror. Alright. I'm just going to play second planes here. I don't want to get Wastelanded out. Prelate's always interesting in this matchup because they've already used a sword. So I don't really want to name one because we have, of course, more. And if they play a Vial here... Okay, Mum's pretty good. We don't have... Okay, double Mum's really good. I guess that turns on Phyrexian Revoker for us, which is kind of nice. Swords. Okay, so we can deal with one. Yeah, the SEG events seem like a pretty big loss. So I'm going to make sure that I stop on my turn. Oh. So this comes back, and then I get to Swords 1. SEG Legacy was just really fun to watch. Stoneforge is nice. I guess we can, if they get Jitte, we can Wasteland them and then name Prelate on 2 to try to slow them down a little bit. I think our best draw is literally just Jitte here. Batterskull, okay, interesting. They can cheat at him, but it means that we slow them down a little bit. Swords. So I think the play here is to play the Prelate on 2. Make them attack with the Stoneforge, most likely with Jitte attached. And if they get protection, we can Swords the Mum in response, and then try to battle the Jitte later on. So I'm pretty happy going after their mana first. Playing Prelate. Seeing if they respond first. They don't, so we'll name 2. We can then attack. So maybe now we have to draw a Revoker to name Mum. Swords is actually pretty nice. I guess they didn't port there because they want to put in Batterskull. But I think Flickerwisp in the air with Sword is definitely an out to this Mum, and then this Sword is going to be turned on. I don't want to attack with a Prelate here because it'll be attacking into a Batterskull. Hey, Ubio31. Thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. what you play in Legacy, if you play Legacy. Karakas is fine. Attack's gonna be fine. They go to 19, we go down to 17. Wisp. Okay. Okay. Some nice card advantage there. So I can attack with the Wisp with the sword on it and trade with the Flickerwisp in the air. I can also just not equip and attack in the air. Maybe I'm pretty happy as well just putting the sword on the Prelate as a 4/4 and attacking with it. I don't mind that. I think we can attack with a 4/4. They block with the Batterskull and trade. It's okay. I guess they're getting pretty close anyway to just equipping the Batterskull to another creature, which is pretty rough. So do I really want to trade the Germ for an actual card? Maybe I'm better off just attacking with the Wisp, seeing if I can trade with theirs, and then playing my own, flipping back a Swords to Plowshares. It's definitely a tough spot. I think I've definitely lost this, seeing they got Jitte online and a much better board presence. But we'll see if it comes down to just... Even blocking there is interesting, because they are at 19. They're definitely gaining 4 this turn, I believe. Alright. So Vial goes up to 2. I guess if they have like Thalia, it's kind of rough because a Vial on 2 activated, I have to respond to it, or else I can't actually cast the Swords to Plowshares. And sadly here, I think I just have to double block. Get rid of the Germ and make them use enough mana next turn. There's no point chumping, and there's no point not blocking. Yeah, not a great time to be alive. I guess Wisp, we can hit the Jitte, but... I'm going to play the Wisp, and I'm going to just do the trick again where we just get our Swords of Plowshares open. And see if we can maybe just keep trading creatures. Rough. At least boarding's pretty good. We have 2 paths. We have the Leonin Relic-Warder, Walking Ballista, Gideon, and Council's Judgment. I can pretty easily take out the Thalias. I still think Tomik's okay, even though it is a legendary creature. And the same with Thalia, Heretic, Cathar. I think it just does enough. Maybe the Tomik I can actually take out. Tomik's nice because sometimes the air is just a little bit less defended than the ground when it comes to the TNT matchup. Hey, Diego. Thanks for the follow. Let me know where you're from. If you play Legacy, what do you play in Legacy? So I'm definitely keen to take out my sort of combo and non-creature based hate. But one more card is always interesting. I could go down on a Vial, but I'm really keen to have that, you know, that near 40% chance of having it in my opening hand. Maybe it's a case of Thalia. I think it's between Thalia and Tomik here. Legacy is a format in Magic where most cards are playable. I can't tell if that's a... I'm going to treat it like a real question. But yeah, so Legacy is pretty much... if you have the card pool of Magic, Legacy uses pretty much the whole bandwidth, except for a few exceptions from powerful cards that are banned because of their power level. I'm going to take out the Thalia. I'm going to take out the Thalia because I like the Tomik. I like having the extra flyer. Would love to play first. And this hand's sweet. Turn 1 planes into Vial, and then turn 2 we have Port open. We don't have straight access to removal outside of Recruiter of the Guard for Walking Ballista, but I'm okay with that. Alright. Let's tick this up. Let's play Port. Let's pass. Wasteland's not the worst, because if they waste us, it means that A, we can play a mum, and then we can play a second mum. So here we can definitely play this mum. Let the Wasteland resolve. Happy to tick this up. Another planes is nice. I'm going to play the second mum and just pass back. Hey, a huge thank you, Adrian. That's really nice. Yeah, I'll have to look at the form tonight. Another mum's fine. Just a pass back, okay. Perfect. Thank you very much. So I could activate Vial between these turns, but there's nothing that's really going to happen anyway. Swords. So I kind of like just holding up Recruiter here for Flickerwisp. I think that's probably the best thing to do with my mana. I could Recruiter for Stoneforge Mystic, but I think with these mums, it's a little bit hard to get anything through. It's not the worst, though. Recruiter for Stoneforge, get Jitte out of the deck. I think I'm less hesitant to take the time to get Flickerwisp because we have the double mums. This also makes our mana base a lot less resilient, a lot more resilient to Rishadan Port, because we can actually do something in our upkeep. Something like a Phyrexian Revoker would definitely change things up though, because it is a colorless source, so we can't give protection to it. But our opponent can give it protection from white. Jailer is going to be interesting, especially on this board. I think the Jailer is actually going to be win more if we do start connecting with this Jitte. Unless they play Jitte first. I guess if they play Revoker and name Mum, we can take Vial up to 4, put Jailer in, take out Revoker, and then just have Mum up. I'm going to put this at no for now. This means we're just going to put in Vial. Just in case we don't draw into another land, I want to make sure we have Jitte on board. It does open it up to something like Leonin Relic-Warder, but I'm pretty happy to not play around that. Charming Prince. Let's just pass back. I guess if our opponent has Jitte, Council's Judgment, that's going to be fine. Alright. Can definitely put in Mirran here. I kind of like keeping this at 3 for one more turn. As good as Palace Jailer is, it might even be good enough just to put in here and make our opponent kind of give protection with Mun Mum. I'm going to tick this up. Wasteland's pretty nice. So we can actually Charming Prince. Exile Recruiter. Interesting. They're going to try to Swords the Recruiter. In response, we can easily just protect this. Pro white. Ah, which is actually quite nice because then it doesn't get taken out anymore. It means we can attack with it. But now maybe I'm a little bit hesitant on the Palace Jailer. How bad can it actually come back at us? I think we definitely Wasteland here. And then I'm actually happy just to go for Palace Jailer here. If they want to try to just give protection and get through, I'm happy because I think we can go wide enough currently to make sure that they can't keep the crown for more than one turn. Hey, D5AM. Welcome to the stream. We're currently 1/1 and down a game against Death and Taxes. Chumming Prince has been nice. It's only a one-of, so you don't see it too much. It did just get neutered there because in response to Chumming Prince coming in targeting Recruiter of the Guard to flicker it, my opponent used Swords to Plowshares on Recruiter of the Guard. In response, I had to give it pro white, and then what that did was actually stop stop the flicker effect from happening, which was kind of cool. Definitely no. That's gonna be fine. Stoneforge. Interesting. I'm actually going to get aggressive here with Mirran and give it pro before damage. Just so they can't block it. Yeah, that's very true. I could definitely not play anything and hold up double white to act like I have Swords to Plowshares, because then maybe my opponent's more inclined to just take the damage and I don't have to use my mum there. So that's very true. Support's pretty nice here because it means that next turn we're definitely going to get Mirran Crusader in for 12. And the ports don't do much because we can act at instant speed with Stoneforge Mystic, which is kind of cool. So Stoneforge is going to be fine. And unless they have Disenchant, I don't think they have a great way to deal. Revoker's pretty nice. So now we really just need the out of Walking Ballista. Sort of Fire Knight's obviously not good enough here. Okay. That's pretty lucky. So this is an interesting one. I can take out the mums here, so they can't get protection in their turn, but then they can still get in with the Flickerwisp in the air. I also kind of want to make sure this Flickerwisp, this Walking Ballista stays around for now. So I think here I actually just attack with protection to get back the crown, draw a card, and then just allow everything else to unfold. I don't mind just giving something like the Chumming Prince protection. I like holding back the Mirran Crusader because it has first strike, so putting the Jitte on Stoneforge or Revoker isn't that great. I assume that actually just give protection anyway to come through. If you want the crown, You get hit by Jitte regardless of what you do. Yeah. You got protection, right? Ooh, okay. Well, that's a bit of a misplay. So I guess now I have to kill Revoker. Rough. I forgot about the the Revoker. Yeah, I think the mums just have to go. We'll see what happens here. So I guess I can kill this and... Do I care about the Mirran? I think I have to kill Revoker just because it's such a... Like, turning off Sword of Fire and Ice is just so good. But that's definitely a waste. That's just not looking at my opponent's board state and actually taking it into full consideration. Now they draw an extra card as well. I guess we just don't draw an extra card. Rough. Just little things. They surely equip it to the Stoneforge Mystic because it has 2 power. Yep. Oh, I guess we can block it with Walking Ballista and then just give, like, kill something. So that's actually nice. Unless if they have Swords to Plowshares. So I think we definitely try and block. Okay, so that's not too bad, because now we can actually just put all our mana into the Walking Ballista again. Okay. Stupid. I guess it's not too bad, because if they go after our mum... I guess if they go after our mums, it's pretty rough. Because if they swords in response, we have to use the... We have to use the... I guess... Yeah, it's tough. Oof, okay. A 1-lander with Vial. I just don't like keeping these. Especially if my opponent doesn't start on Vial and they have Revoker, they're most likely going to name Vial with Revoker. I think it's just better 6s, especially with Swords to Plowshares. This is actually fine. And I'll probably drop the Mirran and keep the 2 Stoneforges and the Flickerwisp. Alright. A Plains wouldn't be that bad here. A Plains means it can't be Wastelanded and we get the Swords to Plowshares. Okay. Well, it seems like if I talk on stream and say what I want, I get it. Alright, it seems like a race. We'll see what they get as well. If they get Jitte, I think I just get Batterskull first. Okay, they get Batterskull. Interesting. Double Wasteland. I think I'm happy playing Wasteland Stoneforge because I want to keep the second white in my hand. And I'm going to get Batterskull. One drop's nice. So I'm actually going to keep the second white still in hand. So I can go Vial and then also Stoneforge Mystic. I can then flicker their Batterskull Germ, which is kind of nice, with the Flickerwisp. Okay, luckily it wasn't Jitte still in their hand. That would have been rough. Interesting, just 3 mana. I assumed he had the 4th mana in Jitte as well, but luckily not. Interesting attacking with the Stoneforge. I kind of feel like that means they have something like Walking Ballista in hand. But I don't think you'd trade the Walking Ballista just for the Stoneforge Mystic. Flickerwisp, okay. Alright. This is going to get tough. Unless I draw Swords to Plowshares now, it's going to be really tough. Mum's not too bad. So we're definitely playing the Karakas. So I think I definitely like putting in Batterskull next turn. So I think I just play the Jitte this turn. That seems like the best play. Tap out for Jitte here. Keep this mana up for Batterskull. Mum, we have end step. And then we also have Flickerwisp to come back down. So if we draw a land, we can Flickerwisp and equip if that's relevant. So I don't mind that. We'll play Jitte. I don't think attacking here into the Batterskull is worth it. We don't even know if they draw the 4th land. So I think we just hold up Batterskull, or else we're really relying on a 5th land to actually get back in this game. Oh, it looks like they didn't draw it. I think we just take this. So, Council's Judgment, they most likely name the Jitte. So I think in response to Council's Judgment, we just put everything in. If it's Relic-Warder, we can get out of it by drawing a land and whispering it. Recruiter. Recruiter's going to be fine. What do they get? Most likely another Flickerwisp. Relic-Warder. Okay, that's not bad because we have the Flickerwisp. So here we can put in Mum. Put in Batterskull. We can now untap. We can pump this up. Another Wisp. I don't mind equip Batterskull Prog Black. I don't actually mind just attacking with Batterskull and trading with the Germ and keeping the Mother open. So I don't mind tapping like this. I think because of the Flickerwisps in hand, I'm actually more inclined just to trade here. And now we can just pass. It also means that they can't have something like Leonin Relic-Warder and Swords to Plowshares. So if they put in Leonin Relic-Warder, we can deal with the Flickerwisp and the Recruiter. So I think we definitely use one here. We're using it anyway. Hey, Graham. Flickerwisp. Interesting. I wonder if they just flicker the Batterskull here. Which is going to work out pretty bad because we have these two Flickerwisps of our own. Yeah. That's going to be fine. I guess what I could have done in my turn as well is actually use this mana to equip my Stoneforge Mystic. Definitely tick this up. Our Plains is pretty nice. A Plains means we can go 1, 2, equip, 1, 2, 3, Wisp, remove the Germ, I can remove the Flickerwisp here. I think I like attacking and then removing the Flickerwisp before they can block. And now if they want to double block, they can. But I don't think they will. You wouldn't have removed the Flickerwisp? Interesting. I think it's mainly because I have access to 2 counters, which can pretty much answer everything. Especially with the Vial on 3 as well. Yep, that's very true. I guess a pump effect on the Stoneforge Mystic is just the same. It becomes a 3/4, which the Flickerwisp itself can't kill. So this comes in and then it targets. Okay, so it comes in. So I don't mind going... Probably kill and gain life. And now I can just vial it with Wisp. So if I kill the Leonin Relic-Warder with it on the stack, it does get removed. But here I should just be able to Flickerwisp this in, get new triggers anyway, and then kill this if they even try to flicker it with like a Flickerwisp. We're getting pretty close as well to just having, this will always be no. I definitely need to start winning because they are at a fair amount of life. And then it's going to concede. Yeah, so thankfully the Flickers from the air are just too good there, but having the Vial start was definitely a huge consideration as well. So we are 2-1, which is nice. I'm just going to go to the bathroom real quick, and then I will be back for match 4. Yeah, start winning is a pretty nice line to have. Pretty cold in here. It's obviously pretty hot in Australia right now, especially with the bushfires, but luckily in Queensland, where I am from, we're not too affected. There's a bit of smoke up here, but definitely nothing like Sydney or Canberra or down south. Roger Steady. I'm gonna keep this. The swords is nice, and then just a turn 2 Thalia with 2 lands is kind of cool. Your flight's been delayed. Where are you coming back from? Oh, you're leaving Queensland. Okay. That's right, you had a flight this afternoon at 5. Is that for work? Bloodstained. I always just think of Reanimator when I see this. But Mountain. Interesting. I'm not too sure what this deck is. Unless it's like some sort of mono-red... Surely it's not combo. Broom? Broom. Yeah, I'd love to know what this actually is, and if I should wait for them to attack, or just keep up. Like, should I keep up swords or just pass back? Yeah, I'm going to assume this deck plays a bunch of like Lotus Petals and Chrome Moxes, so you can like dump your hand and then recharge it through this. Discard your hand. I guess you could also like use Delve effectively. I'm gonna Swords it just because I'm kind of scared of it right now. Yeah, I don't think I want him to untap because I don't want them to actually just have the mana to cash in whatever they have. Okay, well now I'm more scared of Goblin Engineer. Is this just like Painter? Okay. That's not too bad. We do have Sanctum Prelate for Grindstone, which is kind of nice. So I don't mind just going Thalia here. And then probably Prelate next turn. I'm not going to tell you unless you tell me to. So I'm definitely used to playing against Mono Red Painter. I just haven't seen a deck with Bomat Courier in it. Well, now this is pretty rough because the engineers can just get back the combo. So now I feel like I need to Recruiter of the Guard for Phyrexian Revoker. So unless they have a Soul Land, they pretty much just... I guess they need another artifact as well. I can't really go for Palace Jailer because I assume they'll just put in the Grindstone and then just hold up the other part. Not even a great attack. Oh, they don't, because they can actually just trade the Grindstone for the Painter's Servant. They can activate Grindstone and then trade it for Painter's Servant. Okay, so they don't have a Soul Land. They do have a Mox. I feel like I also need to put Prelate on 1 to stop the Phyrexian Revoker dying from anything like Pyroblast. Unless they trade it here for Painter's Servant. They could put in Painter's Servant and then Pyroblast this. I guess it doesn't matter if they do have it. I guess they might do it as well because I could just name Goblin Engineer if they do nothing. So 2 cards left. And it looks like they just have an answer. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I could have definitely been a little bit more safer with my Swords to Plowshares, but obviously didn't pay off. So we have 1 draw. Port. Doesn't do a whole lot. We can't even double port. I think that's just game. Nothing I'm missing, because upkeep... Yeah. Alright. Path to Exile seems great. I don't mind Rest in Peace if they're on the Bomat Goblin line, so nearly like probably at least 10. Surgical seems fine. Relic-Warder and Council's Judgment. Tomik can most likely come out. Tomik's interesting because it stops them from Pyroblasting or dealing with our lands if Painter's in play, but I think if Painter's in play we have bigger problems. I think the Mirrans can most likely come out. just don't do enough. Charming Prince. I kind of like Charming Prince because it can just be a small way to reset a Revoker. I think it might even be something like Thalia's we just take out. I think because we're bringing in so much non-creature, so many non-creature spells. I could even see some number of Stoneforge coming out. It's not really a Stoneforge matchup. A lot of their creatures are just pretty strong against Umezawa's Jitte. So parts I like just because they're nice, cheap interaction. The surgicals I don't mind because they do play Goblin Welder and most likely Goblin Welder and Goblin Engineer. The Judgment's just nice. The Relic-Warder's nice. The Rest in Pieces, maybe a little bit overkill. I still think Thalia's okay, but I'm not too sure what you usually take out. I think the Stoneforge package is fine as a 2-of because you do definitely need a way to get through damage. Maybe it's even something like a land that we take out. I could see like a Karakas and then just having one Thalia in the deck. Maybe then we play 2 Thalias. This seems fine. I'm pretty happy to see how this goes. Cataclysm is an interesting one. They just have so many, like, they could keep a Great Furnace as an artifact and then a land as a land. And then they could just, yeah. I don't think Cataclysm is where we want to be. Unless we see that on the Khan package as well, it might tempt me to change. Sounds pretty good, we'll keep this. At least Bomat Courier doesn't have flying. I think that would be that'd be pretty rough. Yeah, it seems really nice. I guess the only mild consideration is that although we're playing Thalia to tax them, our removal spell actually gives them the mana to play around Thalia each turn, so this would be nice to be a sword, but I'm still very happy to have a removal spell in my opening hand. I think I'm happy to attack with Mum here. I don't think that would trade. Ooh, Ancient Tomb, interesting. So here I don't mind just Relic on the Servant, get in for 3, and then hold up Surgical. I might even keep open Karakas. We're essentially attacking for 5 as well because of this Ancient Tomb. And Thalia is making it that they pretty much have to use it every turn, which is kind of nice for us. Revoker. That's going to be fine. So now I do have the option of just swordsing the Revoker to turn on Mum and attacking in for 6. Which I don't mind. I could also just attack with Thalia this turn. And just hold up path. I might even then want to draw a card this turn. Unless I want to hold up both path and surgical. I don't think there's too much that I would draw into that I'd be happy to play this turn. So I might as well just hold it up until their turn. The Welders haven't done too much, which is kind of great for us, but at the same time, it does mean surgical is a lot less, having a lot less impact on the game. Okay, so there's Engineer. That's fine. So I guess now we have this battle where they Welder, we surgical, they Welder, we surgical. What I should have done is in response, I should have pathed the Revoker. That means they have no other goblins to actually interact with in Ensnaring Bridge. Interesting. I guess now we do have the chance to just trade here. Which I don't mind. Because most likely it's going to turn into a Welder hit. I think I have to spend 2 surgicals on this. Our only other out is drawing Council's Judgment or Flickerwisps to flicker the Leonin Relic-Warder. I guess we could also try to path this Welder to see what they do. I don't mind that. Yeah, so if we path this Welder, they most likely in response target the same thing. Pretty sure these now trade. Oh, Rest in Peace is kind of nice. I wonder if I want a surgical... I don't think I want to surgical the Revokers before I Rest in Peace. Definitely attack first. I think we just have the greater creatures right now. might even just hold up Karakas and not Surgical. Nice, okay. A little bit scary. Yeah, I think we're happy with him drawing Revokers as well, because it doesn't do anything on the current board state. The only question is, maybe I don't care. Walking Ballista is interesting because it can deal with a few of their creatures in Bomat Courier. I'm not sure if they keep in Bomat Courier, but it can 1-for-1 at least a Goblin Welder. But I don't know if that's good enough. I think I like, no, I think Thalia did a lot there. I think we just run this back. I don't think there's anything that I want to change if I'm on the draw. Yeah. I'm just going to run this back. I think I might try to think too much and overthink any changes that I do on the draw. So I'm just going to play with the same 75, the same 60. It seems fine. We have a lot of great answers for really anything that can hit us. The big one is hitting their graveyard, because it turns on Prelate so much better and also turns on Thalia a little bit more. I have had an opponent play Great Furnace, Welder, and then untap, play LED, crack it, get Wormcoil in the bin, and then bring it back for the land. That was pretty rough. But yeah, I think we have enough graveyard hate. We have 2 Rest in Peace and 2 Surgical. We have enough like 1-for-1 removal in Path to Exile, Swords to Plowshares. Palace Jail is great. Leonin Relic-Warder is great. The mums are going to be fantastic. Maybe I do like the Ballista, because we also saw the, I think I like Ballista over the, probably just like, I kind of like the 1 Stoneforge, just in case we do need to find an equipment piece. The one annoying thing is that with Sword of Fire and Ice, it has protection from blue. So if a painter's on the field and it names blue, the sword actually can't equip to anything we have, because it can't be used with blue creatures. What do we got? I think this is fine. Stoneforge for Batterskull is our win condition. We have Revoker for Grindstone, and we have Rest in Peace as well. The double Rest in Peace might be a little bit too, like, we don't really need them, but I guess if our opponent starts on Palace Jailer off Ancient Tomb or City, then they could name blue and actually Red Elemental Blast one of them. We will keep. I think here we just Wasteland, because it also turns off the Mox Opal. So it really hits 2 mana, which I think is just something we can't afford them to have. Yeah, wow. Okay. Yeah, that was pretty huge. Not even a second land. Okay, now they get there. So I don't think they can win next turn, so I think here we just want to play Stoneforge Mystic for Batterskull to get a threat on board. Rough. So yeah, I still think here we just hold up Batterskull. Getting Prelate would be pretty nice here. I do have the option to port them, but I think I'm happy just putting Batterskull into play and then hopefully be able to port them next turn. Wow. So here they can't even have a Braid, which is kind of nice for us. And really all down to that Wasteland. Sword, okay. Let's attack first. And now I'm pretty happy just porting them. A sword is pretty perfect. So here, I think I'm happy to just go Flickerwisp here and hold up planes for sword, because then we just have lethal in 3 if we draw into another land for Sword of Fire and Ice. Okay, so now Mox Opal is turned on. Ensnaring Bridge doesn't work. Yeah, Sneak Attack Emrakul would be pretty nuts. A Braid. That's pretty good. That's going to be fine. So I think the play next turn is just attack for 4, and then Wisp our own Wisp, and then end step, take out the Great Furnace. Looks like they're trying to do something else. Maybe a second Abrade? Goblin Engineer, okay. That's gonna be fine. So we interesting. We hit this for, we swords this for 1, they go to 11. We attack for 4, they go to 7. We play Flickerwisp. We Flickerwisp our own Flickerwisp, and then our end step we exile the Great Furnace, which turns off their Mox Opal as well. And then we have 7 in the air. So I believe that is just the play here. Well, another sword is pretty nice. So attack for 4. Put in Wisp. Exile this Wisp. End step. Exile Great Furnace. All right. Wasteland's pretty nice. I think here we just attack him down to 1. I actually had the win if I went for Sword of Fire and Ice. I have lethal with sword, yes. That's gonna be fine. Hopefully. I don't believe there is a way for my opponent to win from here, which is nice, but... Okay. Nice. So we're currently 3-1. 3-1's always nice, because we can either go 3-2 and get a few treasure chests, or we can go 4-1, which... It's not as good as a 5-0, but it's a nice feeling. But yeah, Painter there just obviously a little bit too slow out of the blocks. That Great Furnace, the Wasteland or Great Furnace on turn 1 really hit them hard because they relied on it not only as 1 mana source but 2 with a Mox Opal. Alright, we're on the play against this player. This is an interesting hand. So we have 4 ways of interaction through Source to Plowshares and Wastelands and Port. We have somewhat of a threat with Flickerwisp. 3-1 feels like playing with house money. 100%. I'm a big fan of your username being File Flickerwisp. I think there are probably better hands than this, but... Yeah, I think we mulligan this. It just doesn't really do enough. This is a little bit better. I'm gonna drop the Mirran. Ooh, Ancient Tomb. Maybe I should have kept that Wasteland hand. This definitely feels like Chalice for 1. Grim Monolith. Okay, that's kind of scary. Echoes. Okay. No Wasteland, which is pretty tough. Yeah, this deck's pretty cool. We played against it yesterday as well. It tries to storm off with... I can't remember the name of it, but it's whenever you cast a spell, you can untap all non-land permanents of yours. At least they don't know what we're on. So if they do get a little bit too far out this game, we can just concede and then hopefully take down games 2 and 3. Deafening Silence is definitely probably the best card against them. I think we can definitely play this out. I guess they have a lot of, a bit of mana, especially with Vault Key, but we'll see how it goes. Bridge is pretty good, but it's not the be-all, end-all, which is kind of nice. I guess next turn they can get Microsyn's Lattice. I wonder here if Double Mum's just better than Aether Vial. I think it is. Interesting. Oh, I can't attack. Oh, of course, yeah. I think we just concede there because we can't get under the bridge. And they have the lattice as well, so... Deafening Silence is pretty much the main reason that I went up to 3 in this deck. I don't mind Cataclysm, I don't mind Council's Judgment and Relic-Warder. Surgical's interesting if they're playing the Echoes build, but I don't think it's worth it. I think we can take out some number of swords. I actually don't mind bringing in Path, because I don't think they play many basics, if any. Tomik can probably come out. I think that Mirrans are just a little bit too fair. Can probably even drop down on like Stoneforge Mystics. I think everything else here is really good. I think Thalia Heretic Cathar is pretty nice in this because it's... Oh, I thought it did artifacts as well. It does not. I don't think I want to bring in Graveyard Interaction. I don't think it's worth it. I think I'm happy with this. I think I want to mulligan pretty heavily for Deafening Silence. But this isn't too bad either because we get the turn 1 Mum, turn 2 Thalia, and we have Port and Wasteland. How does the other deck win? It's either through a really large Walking Ballista. It can be through the Khan Lattice Lock. They're the main two. I think it might even play the... whenever you cast a spell, you gain a life. And you can like pay 50 life to deal 50 damage to a player. This might just be too slow though, but we'll see. They mull to 5. The Deafening defense grids are really interesting. I assume it's to play around Force of Will. Or really any counter magic for that fact. Well, they mulligan to 3. Okay, they mulligan to 2. Interesting. Mulligan to 1. Ha! Okay. I guess they can just keep LED and then hopefully rip Echo. Yeah, Death and Taxes is definitely considered a fair deck. I think it's a deck that is really good at keeping the unfair decks in check. Usually. What do they draw? Just don't have LED. I just don't want to see LED. Okay, we just get there. Okay. But we still have this game. So, unfortunately with LED and Echoes, you can't actually surgical it how you might want to. Because of LED being a mana ability, they can just flashback Echo before you can target it. I think we just run back what we have. It's interesting because surgical can hit other things that might just be good enough. So if they discard their hand and you surgical Walking Ballista or surgical Khan, you can surgical the LED, which is actually pretty inviting. I might actually do something like drop down on a land. So maybe a Karakas. And also a Mum. Mum's not going to do a hell of a lot in this game. If anything, I can probably go down on Mums. And then just make sure I'm hitting my land drops. I think I can actually bring in Walking Ballista. Just in case we can deal with a Khan on board. It can stop them from ticking down it if it goes to a larger game. I think all the Mums are actually pretty dead. So maybe it's worth bringing in something like... Maybe just a Stoneforge. Just so we can get our package. Hey, Eddie. A huge thank you for the follow. I hope you're well. We're currently in... No, that's more than fine, man. We're currently in game 5 of our league. We're currently 3-1, and it's 1-1 against this... I don't know what you call it. It's kind of like a Khan combo deck. It's definitely very much artifact heavy. I think we can definitely mulligan this. We're not casting anything effective. We also just have a 1 lander, so this is pretty rough. This is better, but we don't have a white source. The Deafening Silence is really what I want. But I don't think I'm in the position where I can keep a hand without a white source. Okay, this is actually not too bad. We'll keep this. And we might actually... I'm not too sure how good the path is. I might drop the path and the Mishra's factory. And then keep this as a 5. Our opponent's gone to 6 as well, so... Inventor's Fair. Okay, that's not too bad. That's fine. Okay. If we draw into Deafening Silence, that's just being slammed, but... We'll have to see. Vial. Okay, I'm going to play Vial. And then just hold up Thalia next turn. I'll hold up Port next turn. The key's very good. Crystal Vein, interesting. Yep. So you can have 5 mana? Dynamo, sure. 4 mana. Untap. Interesting, that's it. That's it, yeah. The bar has definitely been lowered. Plains. Okay, so let's go for Port. And then I think here, Thalia is just better than Port. They also definitely have the enough mana to just make use of this Inventor's Fair. So if they don't use it this turn, I probably want to get close to just trying to get rid of this Inventor's Fair. But Mystic Forge. Interesting that they kept Tormund's Crypt in. So I believe Deafening Silence is really our only out. Karakas. Sadly, just a little bit too fair from us. So here we can at least tap down the City of Traders, which they can most likely just use for mana to untap the Grim. This is where I really miss playing Maverick and playing Collector Oof. Because I think Collector Oof is obviously quite insane against this deck. Khan's pretty good. Maybe I need to play 4 Deafening Silence. Especially if this deck becomes a bit more universal in regards to being played online. I'm not sure if it's the same play that I played against yesterday. Fresh bangers. Pat, I'm listening to Chill Hop Essentials Winter 2009. Ooh, okay. What are they doing here? Discarded their hand. Maybe I want to surgical here something. Maybe I don't. Ballista's fine. If they try to kill Thalia, we might as well try to return it to our hand with Karakas. Probably takes up to 3, just because Flickerwisp is so much better at instant speed. Okay. I could try to save it, but if I draw Palace Jailer, I want to have my 4th land. I think sadly we just concede there. We don't have too many outs, but we do get a chest, so I'll definitely check the check what the chest has. Hero's Downfall, Hypergenesis. Very fun card to play with, especially in Legacy Cube. So that was a 3-2. So a bunch of different matchups, which is very fun to play against. But I think maybe we could just be playing maybe a little bit more of a tighter list. So instead of the Charming Prince playing a 4th Flickerwisp, instead of the Thalia Heretic Cathar playing like another Mirran Crusader, I could definitely see going up to 4 Deafening Silence in the board. It's just so good, but Legacy Hypergenesis win. That would be pretty fun. It would be pretty sweet. Yeah, I think this deck list is probably not as close to what the normal list is, but definitely close enough. I think I can definitely see more Revokers in the deck. I think 2 is scraping the bottom barrel, and there could be either 3 or the full 4. I saw Cyrus was actually taking his list into one of the preliminaries, and he was playing a full 4 Revokers, which is very cool, especially in a meta right now with so many Planeswalkers. And if you do find yourself playing against these artifact decks, then Revoker seems really good. Charming Prince, I just haven't seen it enough to really have a valid opinion on it. I really like that it's 2 mana and it can flicker things. I think the Scry ability is actually the best ability, especially for a deck like Aether Vial, like Death and Taxes, where you might want to just put some extra Aether Vials to the bottom, or make sure you're not drawing, say, Mirran Crusader against Storm, you're drawing into Sanctum Prelate, or maybe vice versa against like a bug deck. But I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a nice change from Maverick, but I do definitely miss some of the extra flexibility that Maverick gets, especially with Green Sun Zenith, and the amount of just good green creatures that have been printed recently. But that is me. A huge thank you to you guys that came in and watched. You can find me on Wednesday nights at here on Dukes on Twitch playing Legacy. Also on Sunday mornings, which is usually pretty good. I usually play Death and Taxes and Maverick and mix it up. If you want to find all my videos, you can find them on YouTube/C/Dukes on Twitch. You can find everything else at Dukes/Twitter, where I just do all my updates. That's it. I'll send you guys over to the Legacy pit, which is a really good resource for live paper magic. A huge thank you to everyone who came in and watched, especially to Matt Sol. That was very cool. Thank you to Eddie and everyone else for following. That's always a great time. I will see you guys next time. Enjoy the Legacy pit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
You're just running with part 18. Hell yeah. Thanks.
Yep.
What's up?
I guess, hold on. If you play Smasher, that's really bad. I think I'm just supposed to pass and not, like, die. Because I can eventually start getting out of the hole.
I think the attacking part of this stream is over.